She should be commended, and this bill should be supported.
I call the honourable member Charles Chevelle.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, might be pronounced a bit differently, but it's nice to have the call. Look, I think to try to make a response to the challenge laid down by the last speaker, this is a bill that has rightly attracted support from across the House. It is a sensible bill, and I commend Jackie Dean for her initiative in putting it forward. The question of whether it's an appropriate members' bill or whether it ought to be something that the government is advancing as part of a technical review of penalties available in the conservation and related legislation in order to make sure that those penalties work as part of a coherent regime is another question. And I've said before, as have other members, the thing about members' nights is they are special. They are there for members who are not part of the executive to be able to advance matters that they feel passionately about that can't be otherwise part of the parliamentary agenda. And I'm not belittling the bill by saying that it would be the sort of measure that we would support if it was part of a statutes amendment bill, rather than taking up the time of members' night. So I think that's the first point that I want to make. The second point that I want to make is a direct response to Dr. Smith. And I want to say this, Dr. Smith, it isn't about splashing money around actually, it's about commitment. And everybody knows that you have a commitment to the environment. I've never heard anybody in this House question your deep belief that the New Zealand natural environment is one of our treasures. I have heard people speculate about just the extent to which your colleagues share that belief, and I think that's fair speculation. I've also heard people say, and I think this is right, that we should look at the record. And I'm very proud of this party's record on environmental and conservation matters. The fourth Labour government was under Geoffrey Palmer, our first Minister for the Environment, to hold a statutory warrant in that post. Revolutionary in this regard, yes. The Environment Act 1986 was Sir Geoffrey's brainchild. The Conservation Act 1987. All the groundwork that was done to ensure that the Resource Management Act could be enacted was done under his leadership. And New Zealand's first steps to respond to the challenge of climate change were taken under that administration as well. And that's an extremely proud record that every member on this side of the House wants to associate themselves with. And technical reforms of this nature that bring penalty regimes into line with one another are all well and good, and of course we're going to support them. As I say, I'm a little concerned that they're taking up the members' night time of the House. We could be spending time on non-government members' passionately held beliefs that they seek to advance via the members' bill process, but never mind, every member has the privilege that Ms Dean is exercising tonight, and she's chosen to exercise it in this way. But what has to be said, what has to be repeated, is what's been said by a number of Labour members and by Eugenie Sage, and that is this. If we want to talk about record, Dr. Smith, then this government's record on conservation and the environment is poor. It's extremely poor. If we look at the cuts in spending in the Department of Conservation, right through to the decision to abandon the Kyoto Protocol second commitment period so that there are no binding commitments to reduce emissions, and all the public policy failures to bring about a change in our economy and our society so that we really do start to act sustainably and renewably. That's the tragedy of this government, and the tragedy that we see in this sort of minor measures bill that's praiseworthy and will be sent to a select committee and no doubt will pass through all its stages, but it's tinkering. It's tinkering around the margins of the issues that matter. And sir, as I say, if we want to talk about records and we want to take up the challenge laid down by Dr. Smith in the earlier contribution, that is the sad reality of life under National.
I call the honourable member Andrew Williams.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I take a call.